Okay, let's start. Hello, Mr. Decant. Thank
Hello.
you. I am so happy that I am here. So, when did you start the development of Far Cry New Dawn?
Far Cry New Dawn, we started the development like a little bit more than a year and a half ago. So during Far Cry 5.
During Far Cry 5. Okay. 2 days ago, you answered a question via Twitter on Reddit and actually announced that it's the first time in Far Cry history that you are continuing the story with a sequel, and
Yes.
not as a spin-off title as we thought at the beginning of the announcement at the Game Awards. Despite the development team's desire to reconnect with the beloved characters we saw in Far Cry 5,
Absolutely.
what really led you to that decision? That was your first plan to release a sequel on Far Cry 5, or it was meant for a story DLC, an expansion on Far Cry 5?
No, it's kind of a surprise. We were finishing Far Cry 5, we were thinking about the ending. I was narrative director, we were working with the creative and thinking about how we would end the story. And the idea of the nuclear bombs dropping and finishing with the bad guy and actually not killing him, we thought that it would be super fun and super surprising for the players. And when we started to play with that idea, we realized that it was opening other doors. The other doors, potentially continuing the story and getting into a post-apocalyptic setting, which is something we wanted to do for a long time. So that's that. It's a coincidence, like a little bit more than a year and a half ago. And then we said, okay, let's go. We need to do that. And we started to work on it while we were finishing Far Cry 5.
Great. Now, for that post-apocalyptic environment, what was your approach with the art direction of the game? And why? As we see, you chose to give a more vibrant tone, despite the darkness that we have used on post-apocalyptic games. Why you choose this direction in a post-apocalyptic game with more vibrant tone?
So at first,
it's a little bit odd that what we have known until now for a post-apocalyptic game.
You mean it's surprising or?
Yes, it's surprising.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I did it on the positive surprise.
That's cool. When I started to work on the game, when I was starting to think about it, the first desire I had was to make a vibrant, inviting world, because I wanted to make sure that people could be willing to spend hours in it and feel good. So it's like this beautiful world in which there is this horrible, terrible story with like the bad guys and everything. So brutal world, brutal story and beautiful world. That was the idea, the initial idea. After, what I wanted also to not be influenced by other movies or TV shows or games is to look back at our world and try to create a believable post-apocalyptic setting. And actually, if that was to happen, after the bombs, after all this chaos, after the nuclear winter, because there would be less humans, then nature would take over again, and we could get into a space similar to that.
Yes, great. What are your expectations from Far Cry New Dawn? You want to attract more players in the series? Players that may have been disappointed lately with post-apocalyptic installments?
So we've been doing the game for a long time, so it's not about these games that may have been disappointing, but I think the biggest challenge was to balance the act in between a sequel for the fans of Far Cry 5 and at the same time a post-apocalyptic Far Cry that could feel good for anyone. So that's why we have this new character that you can take, and that's why also we have two generations. You have the old characters, like the old players, they know the world, they know the characters, everything. And then you have these new characters like Carmina Rai, the young daughter, and they're like the new players. They don't know about the other world. And through the discussions, even if you didn't know the world, you're going to hear about these people and what they did before, and you're going to understand the story. So the balancing act was to make sure that people that loved Far Cry 5 would be happy. And at the same time, if you're just in for a post-apocalyptic game, you would get it and be super happy, and not just like when you read comic books and you're like, oh shit, I haven't read issue 239 and 249, I don't understand what's going on.
Great. Far Cry New Dawn will be the only sequel of Far Cry 5?
So, I don't know. I think so. I think that we like to surprise people with Far Cry. It's a very free brand at Ubisoft. We're trying to do crazy things. So this time we went there, we'll see for the future.
And are we going to see a new Far Cry game in this generation?
I have no idea. When is this generation finishing?
I don't know.
Voilà. Me neither.
Okay, I think we're done. Thank you very much, Mr. Decant.
Thank you.
It was my privilege.